Okay, here's the third clip. And this time I'm going to do the questions very much similar to what we did last time, except for I'm going to have one extra consideration. We need to worry about the negative sign. So I'm just making these up. They're not out of the textbook. So let's go for question A, 14 minus 3x equals 8. We're going to follow the same process though. What happened to the pronumeral? So what happened to it, and then how do we undo it? So let's go through here and have a look. So first of all, there is something here between this 3 and the x. There is a times in there, remember? Now the other thing we need to remember is that this 3 in front of the x is not just 3, it's actually minus 3, because that number is the number that's in front of the x. So once we remember that, we do okay. This is a really common error that people make. So let's have a look. Let's go back. What happened to this x? It got times by minus 3. Okay, and then it had 14 added to it. So that 14 is just sitting there on the end. It doesn't say plus at the front here because we don't need to write it, but we added the 14 on. Okay, so how do we undo it? Well, the last thing to go on was the plus 14, so we need to minus 14 first, and then the opposite to timesing by minus 3 is dividing by minus 3. Okay, so let's do the minus 14 first. Take 14 away from both sides. Okay, 14 minus 14 goes. 8 minus 14 means I'm left with minus 6. Now, what am I left with? This is the other spot that people make errors. What am I left with? I'm left with minus 3x. See? Minus 3x. All of that has to come down. So let's write that down here, minus 3x. Okay, so I've done that. I've done my minus 14 from both sides. What's the next thing to do? I need to divide by minus 3. So divide's just the horizontal line. Divide one side by minus 3, divide the other side by minus 3. Okay, here I've got a minus 3 on the top and a minus 3 on the bottom, and they are fractions. Same thing on the top, on the bottom cancels down to 1. So I've got x is equal to negative 3 divided by negative 6 is the same as 6 divided by 3. Sorry, negative 6 divided by negative 3 is the same as 6 divided by 3. So the answer is just 2. And there we go. So let's do another one with a minus sign to consider. So what if we do 22 minus 5m equals 104. So let's have a think. What happened to the m this time, and how do we undo it? So, and also remembering that this is a 5, that's a time sign in between the 5 there and the m, and this is not just minus 5, it's not just 5, it's minus 5. So we need to remember all of that. Okay, let's go. First thing that happened to this was it got times by minus 5. The m got times by minus 5. Then what happened? We had 22 added. So the last thing to add was 22. So the first thing to take off is minus 22. And then we need to reverse or undo the times by minus 5. So divide by minus 5. Okay, so let's go. Let's do this one. Let's minus 22 from both sides. Minus 22, minus 22. So 22 minus 22, that goes. What are we left with? We are left with minus 5m. Don't forget that minus sign. And then 104 minus our 22. What does that give us? 82. So that's what we're left with on that side. Okay, we've done that. Now the next thing to do is this. We need to divide by minus 5. And divides the horizontal line. Divide by minus 5. Divide by minus 5. This is a fraction. A minus 5 on top and a minus 5 on the bottom. It's the same thing on the top and the bottom. So we cancel it out. We're left just with m. And then we have 82 divided by 5. minus 5, which will give us minus 16.4, or you could write that as a fraction as well. So you can use your calculator to get that if you don't want to do it in your head. So that one doesn't have a whole number answer, and that's fine. Sometimes that will be the case. Okay, let's do one more where we need to consider the minus sign. 20 equals 15 minus 4x on 5. Okay. Over here, I'm going to do my what happened to it and how to undo it, arrows. Okay, and remembering, again, always remembering that in between here, the 4 and the x, there is a times sign that we don't write. Well, that's a bit dodgy, but that's what I'm meant to have there. Take that out and do it again, times in there. And that the number in front of the x includes the minus sign. So that number all goes with that. The minus sign goes with the 4. So let's go. So what happened to this x first? It got times by minus 4. Okay, we'll do the times first. Then it got divided by 5. Whoa, this one actually has an extra wrapper. It's also had 15 added to the end here as well. So it had 3 things happen to it. That's fine, doesn't matter how many things get wrapped up, we just take them off outer layer first and go backwards. So the last thing to come off was this plus 15. So that's the first, so the last thing to go on was the plus 15. So that's the first thing to come off, minus 15. Then we've got divide by 5. So the opposite to that is times by 5. And then we've got times by minus 4. So the opposite is divide by minus 4. So let's go. Here's the minus 15. That's the first thing we need to do. Take 15 away from both sides. Take 15 away. So 20 minus 15 is 5. 15 minus 15 goes. What are we left with? This whole thing here. Okay, the whole bit. That's what we're left with. That has to go down. Minus 4x over 5. Okay, we've done that. We've taken away 15 from both sides. What's the next thing to do? Okay, we have to times 5 to both sides. Now remember, it is in a different colour. I think about it like this. I put brackets around things and I need to times that side by 5 and I need to times that side by 5. I need to do it to both sides. Okay, you don't need the brackets, but I do it just to help me remember what's going on. So, okay, I need to times both sides by 5. So this is 5 5s. 5 times 5 is 25. And what have I got here? I've got a 5 on top and a 5 on the bottom. 5 on the bottom, 5 on the top. It's like a fraction. Top and bottom of both 5s, they cancel out. I'm left with minus 4x. So I've done that. I've times both sides by 5. Then the last thing I need to do is this thing here, which is minus 4 to both, sorry, divide by minus 4 on both sides. Horizontal line for my divide, horizontal line. Okay, so I've got a minus 4 on top and a minus 4 on the bottom. It's like a fraction. Same thing on the top, same thing on the bottom. It cancels. So I've got x is equal to 25 over 4, which I can write 25 over minus 4. So the answer is minus 6 1/4 or minus 6.25. It doesn't matter which way you write it. And just for convention, we usually write the pronumeral first and then put the answer over the other side. And that's how we do these things when they've got the negatives in front. So they're a particular case, but the rest of the process is just the same.